Testing, testing. One, two, testing, testing. Are we live? Can you guys hear me? We've got All Loves 27 in the house. Welcome, All Loves. We've got Solo who says, "What's up, people? What's up, Solo?" Hey, Rose. She is ready for the leveling. If you guys can let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. Can you see and hear me? Today, we are talking about all of the signs that the universe is leveling you up. What are the signs that you're about to have a major breakthrough, guys? Don't get distracted by those tower moments. And I have no idea if I'm talking to myself or if you guys can hear me. Can you guys let me know in the chat if you can hear me, see me? I'm on lunch break. I can hear you fine. So glad to be here. All right. Thank you very much, Christine Wright. Thank you for coming by. So I'm going to jump into the topic right now because the people on the replay click off if you don't immediately talk about what the video is about. So let's get into all of the signs that the universe is trying to level you up, that you're about to have a major breakthrough. So one of the things that you want to keep in mind is it's always darkest before the dawn. But what does that mean, really? Really, what it means is that old identity is going to hang on for dear life and fight you tooth and nail to stay relevant in your current timeline, because it knows that its time is almost up before that new identity comes and takes its place. Now, notice that I said takes its place and not shares its space. And that's because the new identity is going to cost you the old one. The new life is going to cost you the old life. So, but it's how can you be sure that you're actually being leveled up, that you're about to have a breakthrough and it's not just your life all falling to crap? So, well, there are certain signs, and we're going to talk about those signs. Now, I have some new streaming software that actually puts the talking points on the screen so you guys can follow along. There we go. All right, guys. So the very first sign that the universe is leveling you up is the universe is taking away what has been holding you back, because you won't voluntarily let it go. Now, this can oftentimes be disguised as a tower moment. It's disguised as a tower moment because you're not voluntarily letting it go. So the universe is snatching it out of your hands. And the ego views that tower moment as a threat to survival, obviously throws you into fight or flight, which is a closed off state of resistance. But when you're in that closed off state of resistance and fight or flight, you're not able to see the bigger picture, which is that the lesser is being taken away to make room for the greater. And that greater is typically much more in alignment with the desires of your heart. Your heart's compass is always pointed towards the reason that you decided to incarnate. And the amount of resistance that you will face on your journey typically has to do with whether or not your ego is fighting going in the direction that your heart wants it to go. So let me say that part again. So how much resistance you encounter on your journey is dependent upon how much your ego is fighting going in the direction that your heart wants you to go. So, those tower moments are not some type of a punishment or some type of a, woe is me, nothing ever goes right scenario, or whatever other defeatist type of paradigm that your ego wants to try to sell you. It's really a move by your higher self to purge what is no longer in alignment with the bigger picture of your heart. And the way that you discern between a tower moment and what's the bigger picture is sink into the present moment, sink into the heart space. Because if you allow the ego to have you out into the future, fear mongering, which is where anxiety comes from, the ego is not going to allow you to see the bigger picture. It's not going to allow you to see what the universe is trying to bring into your life by taking away what you thought you needed to survive. But then if you sink into your heart space and you become present, you realize it's not a threat to survival. And then you start looking forward to what the universe is trying to bring into your life. Does that resonate with you guys? We got a few more signs to do here. I'll go ahead and get into the greetings, and then we'll jump back into the signs. Stardust Diamond, how are you, my friend? Yes, I can you. Oh, yes, you can hear me? Is that what you meant to say? Awesome. We can hear you. Cool. Positive Talk, Jennifer Russell. How are you, Jennifer Russell? Thank you for stopping by. Diligent Rabbit. That is a cool username. I like it. Thank you for stopping by. So let me look at some of my other talking points that I can use on here. I love these little banners. All right. So the next sign that the universe is leveling you up is people, places, and things related to the new life or the higher timeline just seem to magically pop up in your everyday life. What a coincidence. There are no coincidences or accidents in an absolute intelligent universe. Everything happens for a reason. So your higher consciousness is aware of the higher timeline that you really want to live. So maybe that's a timeline where you are a healer, or maybe that's a timeline where you're helping the collective consciousness raise their vibration, raise their conscious awareness. Or maybe it's a timeline where you are self-approving, self-validating, fearlessly authentic. Well, that's the direction the compass of your heart is pointed towards. And that signal goes out to that higher timeline. And now that higher timeline, where all of those things are a reality, becomes aware of you and your timeline. And now all of those things from that higher timeline start to show up on your current timeline. And now you're going to be given the opportunity to see if you're vibrationally congruent with the higher timeline. Meaning, are you going to act in accordance with the old identity, the old life, where maybe you were people pleasing or chasing validation to try to, get on the good side of that new type of friendship that you want for your new life? Or are you going to fall back into trauma bonding with that new person that represents the type of relationship that you want to have? You're always going to be given an opportunity to choose the actions in alignment with the new life, the new identity. When you fall back on the actions of the old identity, you're just hardwiring in that old life, that old identity on your current timeline. And the new timeline, the new life, cannot share the same space because it's a vibrational mismatch. So, these people, places, and things that show up that are in alignment with the life that you really want to live, they're going to give you an opportunity to show if you're really a vibrational match for that or not. And if you're not, it just simply means that you're not in this moment. But that doesn't mean that you can't go within and kind of debunk the fear or unhealed trauma that makes you believe you're not good enough or not worthy of love or whatever that fear happens to be that's keeping you off of that current timeline. Does that resonate with you guys? Katrina Hughes. Hello, Katrina Hughes. How are you, my friend? Spring Fauna. Hi, Spring Fauna. Sylvia Guyana. Great seeing you again. I got the Lightways regulars. I love it. Thank you guys so much for your support. John Sear. Hey, Steve. Much love, bro. Steve must be my evil twin. My name is Dave, but I appreciate you, my friend. Just kidding. Shamanic Queen. That's an awesome name. Resonating. I love it. It's me, Luigi. Happy to be here. Thank you for your guidance. Absolutely, my friend. Welcome. Mary Jean Aurelio. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you guys. Sylvia says, how do you know so much? Guys, when you go within, so first you want to establish a solid spiritual practice. But then once you start going within, you start getting your own gnosis because you connect into the all mind. All thoughts that have ever been thought exist. When you connect into the all mind, you're connecting into all intelligence. And when you're in an open receptive state, it comes, it just flows. But you've got to dedicate yourself to a daily meditative practice. Can't stress that one enough. There's not an easy pill. I know a lot of people shy away from meditation or believe that they can't do it because they think they can't calm the monkey mind, but you can. I promise. You just got to put in the work. I think you can feel that in your solar plexus too. What did I miss on that one? After the Storm says hi. Hi, After the Storm. Talashia. Hi, Talashia. Hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. Thank you so much for stopping by. She says, I finally caught a live. Awesome. Great to see you here. It's nice to be here again. Awesome. Welcome, Mary Jean. Okay. Let me get to another sign here. I love this new thing where I can post it. There we go. All right. Now, this one is very interesting. So the level of discontent and disconnection with your current life has reached an all-time high to where you can no longer go on living the old life. This happens basically when you become sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's typically when the major change happens because you take major action because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So the more you awaken, the more your conscious awareness rises. So the more that frequency rises, the more contrast you're going to feel with that old life that's on a lower vibration. So the more that you do the inner work, the more that you do the healing of trauma, the more that you do the expanding of your consciousness, the more the false self living that old life will be palpably and oftentimes painfully dissonant with your new higher frequency. And this is called spiritual evolution. And it's designed that way so that you keep evolving, keep expanding, keep ascending into a version of yourself that's more in alignment with the dominant frequency of source, which by default puts you into makes you less aligned with the opposite frequency of source, which is fear. So when that level of discontent and disconnection with your current life begins to happen, don't look at it as a thing where, I hate my life and that type of thing. Understand that the bigger picture is to get you to go within to find the truth that resonates with you and allow your heart to lead you in that direction. You had a spiritual awakening for a reason. You're having a higher conscious perspective for a reason. So you've got to trust that and let go of what no longer serves and step into that new life, that new identity. I'll try to shorten these up a little bit. Does that resonate with you guys? Where did I leave off? It's me, Luigi. What caused that shift to you, though? I had my spiritual awakening in 2009 after the financial crash. I had attached my identity to all of the material things in life. And then when I lost all my material things, I realized I lost my identity. And so I had to reinvent myself. And then that's when I discovered spirituality. Just like Wayne Dyer says, there's a spiritual answer to every problem. And that has to be true because spirit is everything. And so I completely reinvented myself through spirituality and couldn't be happier. After the Storm. Thank you for your teachings. I'm fully encased in the dark night of the soul. My favorite place to be. So much is falling away and is being replaced with self-love. Yes, the fear is leaving. Oh, you know what? I can actually put someone's comment. I love this new software. There we go. What's up, After the Storm? You are on the spotlight. You're on the stage here. So what After the Storm is talking about So she's fully encased in the dark night of the soul. So much is falling away. So much is falling away that's in alignment with the old identity. So much that is in alignment with fear and is being replaced with self-love. This is the core of spirituality. Oh, there you go. And she finishes with the fear is leaving. So when you're going through the dark night of the soul, everything that is out of alignment with your true source self, meaning it's out of alignment with the dominant frequency of source, it's in alignment with the frequency of fear, the polar opposite frequency, those things are going to fall away. So your false self is in alignment with fear. The false self is created from childhood events, which turn into unhealed trauma, social conditioning, parental programming, all kinds of different things. So the ego tells you you need to be a certain identity to survive. This is the false self. You go through the dark night of the soul to actually drop all of that fear. The false self is purely founded on fear, basically. So the fear is falling away, as she says, and replaced by self-love. Love is the dominant frequency of source, and you are source having a physical experience. Self-love. See that? See how everything goes together perfectly when we start talking about unity? And this is where you find all of your power. So great job after the storm. Oh, I don't know what time zone you're on, but on my screen, you posted that comment at 11:11. So the universe confirms. Awesome. Spring fauna, right? When your frequency rises and you go back to behavior that is not in alignment with, that is not in the new alignment, you can usually feel it in your solar plexus. Yes. So let me put her up here. This right here, guys, is the same as listening to your gut, listening to your heart, or just this general direction in here. This is where your higher self, your spirit guides, your soul, the universe, all connect with you, because it's bypassing the energetic house of the ego, the head, the mind, right? So this is something that you can trust. And when you do something that's vibrationally out of alignment with this, your heart is the energetic house of your greatest version. When you're doing something that's out of alignment with your greatest version, you're going to feel it here. For spring fauna, it's the solar plexus. For others, it might be the heart. For others, it might be the gut. But it's not here, because in here, the ego is like a lawyer. The ego is going to tell you all of the things and rationalize all of the reasons why you should be doing this old thing that you know you shouldn't be doing. So this is why you got to watch out for the ego. But we don't make an enemy of the ego. We love the ego. We just got to keep it in its proper space. We integrate the ego. We do not make an enemy of the ego. Darren says, absolutely resonates. Jay, hi, Jay. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome, my friend. I think I had a wake-up call last night. It feels like I see more clearly now. I can see clearly now. The rain has gone. Do, 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 do. What would the rain be? The rain would be fear, right? I can see all the obstacles in my way. All of the obstacles. Sounds like stepping stones or a stepping ladder to a higher timeline that you actually want to live. I love it. Keep doing what you do, Jay. Okay, let me see here. What is my next little sign? So we did the level of discontent. Yes. So this one is the next sign from the universe that you're being leveled up is you're being forced to look within at whatever discontent is in your life with honest eyes. So you're being called to own your crap. Let's say that you're being called to own your crap. You're being guided to actively work on changing instead of blaming others. You're not externalizing the blame for where you are in your life. So there's a new level of holding yourself accountable that was that previously wasn't there. And again, this is because you've hit that point in your timeline where it's time to change. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you've hit that fork in the road. And this is actually what spiritual maturity is. You start to take accountability instead of externalizing everything. So a true spiritual practice means going within, doing the honest introspection, not avoiding any quote unquote negative emotions. All emotions are valid. The emotions that we like to call negative are typically they're just messengers, and they're giving you a message or showing you where your awareness needs to be, typically where you're in alignment with fear and out of alignment with the dominant frequency of source, which is love. And so it's only when you get honest with yourself, and then you're able to heal the false self that believes the false beliefs. Um, and so those false beliefs are typically keeping you back. So the false self has certain things that it wants to bypass or repress, but now you're deciding to face what you've been repressing and bypassing, because you have an internal knowing or an understanding that you have to do this to progress to the next level. And these are some of the signs of that the universe is leveling you up. Does that resonate with you guys? Let's see. Katrina Hughes resonates 100%. Love the singing. Thank you. I don't want to torture you guys with my singing, but when the feeling hits, let's just go with it. Rose says that song was the first record I bought. Oh, played it all day long for months. There's some synchronicities for you there, Rose. That's some confirmation. Darren says, is it possible to have multiple identities within a lifetime while always being true to your authentic self? Yeah. While always being true to your authentic self. Yeah. So the last part of that sentence, while being true to your authentic self, kind of throws it off a little bit, because your authentic self should be the only identity that you need. I always like to say, be your authentic self and the world will adjust. So you can have multiple identities, a certain identity that you show to your coworker, or a certain identity that you show to your partner, or a certain identity that you show to your family, or a certain identity that you show to your friends. But all of those are protection modalities or survival identities that you believe you need to be to survive that relationship. In other words, be perceived the way that you want to be perceived. But really, when you step into your authentic truth, you fearlessly live that authentic truth, and that's just what you are. And those that resonate with you will stay with you, and those that don't will make space for the ones that do. So Spring Fauna says singing and dancing is a light worker thing. Absolutely. We just do it at random. We most certainly do. We most certainly do. All right, guys. So those are some of the signs that the universe is leveling you up. But there's also some internal shifts in your thinking that happen simultaneously as the universe is leveling you up. So these shifts in your way of thinking, they signal a major breakthrough. They signal that a breakthrough is coming. And it's nice how the universe works simultaneously with these signs, and simultaneously with your shift in thinking. So, for example, the universe is working with you because the universe is you, and you are the universe. The universe is you having a physical experience to experience itself as a universe through a different perspective, through your perspective. So when you have these internal shifts of thinking, they're going to coincide with the different signs that you're being leveled up. So some of these major changes in the way that you think and the way that you're perceiving things, they change in a way that allows space for a breakthrough. So maybe the old coping mechanisms of maybe religion or excessive escapism just aren't solving the problem the way that it used to. Well, there's a reason for that. The universe wants to show you how to fish, instead of always giving you a fish dinner every time that you're hungry. And this allows you to grow into a spiritual adult, to spiritually be self-sufficient and sovereign, which is the whole point of having a spiritual awakening. So, what are some of the mental shifts that we go through um, when we're about to have a major breakthrough? You surrender control. So you surrender control and let go of what's been keeping you behind, because you've been keeping a death grip on it. So you let go of what you've been keeping a death grip on. So usually, what you're, sorry, my Siri is going off here. Usually, what you're reluctant to relinquish control of is the very thing that keeps you anchored in that old identity or stuck in the dark night of the soul. So let me say that again. Usually, what you are reluctant to relinquish control of is usually what's keeping you stuck in that old identity, or in the dark night of the soul. That's a kind of a fear-based scarcity belief of what might happen if you let go and if you stop controlling. And it's a lack of trust in the fact that what is meant for you cannot pass you. So it's your internal frequency that will determine whether something is a vibrational match to share your space. So even if you try to control and squeeze as hard as you can, if there's no vibrational congruence, it's going to leave your space anyway. It's only going to be short term because it's not a vibrational match. You can't keep anything long term that you're not willing to become vibrationally. Let that one sink in. You're not able to keep anything long term that you're not willing to become vibrationally. So you've got to be absolute love, be absolute abundance, be absolute health. You got to drop the concept that these are all things that are outside of you and that they're not your identity. You are source having a physical experience. Source is absolute love, absolute intelligence, absolute abundance. So your spiritual DNA is absolute abundance, absolute love, absolute intelligence. And as soon as you make these things your identity, they're able to share the same space with you because it's just another fractal of yourself sharing the same space with you. Birds of a feather. If you have this concept that you're not that you're not it, which one keeps you standing in the frequency of its absence, and that you have to go out and get it, or you're externalizing to get it, it can't share the same space with you because it's not birds of a feather. Okay, so you've got to be it. Does that resonate with you guys? Patty Moore, hello, Patty Moore, welcome. Stacy Watley Price, welcome, Stacy. Great seeing you. Christine Wright, I have to go back to work. Light fam, don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, for all of David's hard work for us, love and light. Oh, thank you, Christine. I appreciate you. So that was the first major change in thinking that signals that a breakthrough is on its way. You surrender control and let go of what you've been keeping a death grip on. Does that resonate with you guys? Spring fauna, right. And when you release that fear-based control, you replace it with faith that the universe has your back. That is right, 1,000%. And what is meant for you can never pass you by. Absolutely. Spring Fauna's been watching my videos. I'm just kidding. But I can tell you're doing the work, Spring Fauna. So good on you, my friend. So what is another internal change? Oh, by the way, check out these I love this software. Check out these little banners. So we got subscribe. Christine Wright reminded me. Subscribe for more empowering content. So we got that. Let's see. We got this one here. Please share with like-minded people using the hashtag spiritual awakening. So apparently if you use a hashtag when you share, lets the algorithm know that that's the type of content that you like. yeah. So we got, this is my IG. You can follow me on IG. I think I did a TikTok one as well. And TikTok. All right, I'm finished playing with my new streaming software. I like this thing though. Oh, where did I leave off? So you surrender control. All right. So what is another shift in thinking that signals that a major breakthrough is on the way? You have stopped playing not to lose and you started playing to win. So remember, guys, no risk, no reward. And this type of mentality, if you've had the shift into, I'm going to stop playing not to lose and start playing to win, and you've shifted into no risk, no reward, that means you've reached a place where you're sick and tired of not exacting the change that you're looking for. Now you're willing to risk a little bit more to get that change that the heart longs for. Right. So playing to win is completely different than playing not to lose. Fortune favors the bold. We've all heard that. But when you're following your heart, you have an internal knowing that you're going to be provided for, that the universe has your back, very much like what Spring Fauna just mentioned. When you're following your heart, the universe is going to back you up times 10. Why? Because as I just said, the universe is you. It's proliferating and edifying itself when it backs you up. And when you're following your heart, it's really going to back you up times 10, because the more expanded and leveled up and higher consciousness you are, the more that it can express itself through and as you to a much greater degree, and to everyone else that you know who is also the universe having a physical experience. So the universe doesn't want you to be in survival mode, fight or flight. Survival mode is that closed off state of resistance where you're stuck on your timeline and you're not in the present moment because you're off fear mongering into the future. That doesn't serve the universe as you in any way. So when you start to follow your heart, that means you're following the compass that's leading toward your life purpose. There's a reason that you decided to incarnate. When you follow your heart, you're headed towards that reason. And that usually means that the universe can express itself to a much greater degree through and as you. So the universe is going to have your back. So don't be afraid to play to win and risk some things, because the universe has your back. And when you're not afraid to risk, it means that you're in a much more expansive and allowing state of mind. And when you're on that expanded state of mind, you're on the frequency of possibilities, and more things are going to show up as a possibility to get you where you're trying to go than if you're playing small. Because when you're playing small, you're only attracting more things that keep you small, right? This is a universe of frequency and vibration. So when you're playing small, you're attracting more things that will keep you small. But when you go after your dreams and you play big, you're going to attract all of the things that are in alignment with that new vision that you have for your life. There are no limits. The only limits that exist are the limits that you place on where you're trying to get to. But we've all heard it before. The universe can create a pebble as easy as it can create a planet, right? So there's no there's no limits. It's just, what do you believe, and how much are you willing to stake your action on that belief? And that's really what true belief is. It's acting in accordance to that belief. We always can say things. We can always talk the talk, but walking the walk is a little bit different, because it means that you actually believe what you're saying. And the universe will always back you up in that regard. Is that resonating? Katrina says, I love the banners. Awesome. I do too. I love this new software. It's like a kid in a candy store. I got little toys here to play with. Talicia says, this is where I'm at now. You're playing to win. Awesome. You got this. Spiritual Queen. I like that username. Queen. Love your channel. Excited to catch you live. Awesome. Wow. So feel that one. Thank you. My current life feels so unfulfilling. Well, sink into the heart space. What is unfulfilling? Is it the ego that's saying it's unfulfilled? Does the heart really know what will fulfill your life? Sink into your heart space and ask, what will fulfill my life? And then go in that direction. The housewife. Okay, we got the housewife. Belief is an opinion. Yeah, belief is one of the most powerful catalysts for creation there is. You guys will learn the more that you get on your spiritual journey that there's reality is way more subjective than it is objective. Yes, there are some objective truths that are true for everyone, but there are so many more truths that are subjective that come into play only because you believe it, not because it's an objective truth that's true for everybody. So that's an interesting thing. So belief is an opinion. Yeah, it's one of the most important opinions you can have. Velvet Parker. Hey, Velvet Parker. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. Thank you very much for stopping by. Letting go of all expectations. Yes. What are expectations? Living in the future, right? Where's all your power in the present moment? You have no future. You have no power in the future. All of your power is in the present moment. And you determine your future by syncing your frequency into what you want to experience. And what is that you want to experience? Well, you be what you want to experience. And then what you experience will be in vibrational alignment with that. Let me look at these little banners. Do I have any more mental shifts? Okay. So this is the next shift in thinking that will signal the coming of a major breakthrough. You've stopped focusing on why you can't and started focusing on why you can. And this typically means putting together a game plan. So when you start focusing on why you can, you start asking bigger questions and empowering questions. The universe loves to answer empowering questions with empowering answers. And it's that internal shift that allows the universe to work through and as you to a much greater degree. And then, boom, the clouds part, right? You have that breakthrough. Now you're living that new life, which is in alignment with the life that your heart wants you to live. So when you start focusing on why you can, that's always a signal of a major breakthrough is about to happen because you're getting on the frequency of possibilities, endless possibilities, which is the frequency of expansion, is the frequency of allowing, is the frequency of channeling, right? And this is where you receive those downloads and the guidance that directs you to your next step, the next action steps that you need to take. Focusing on why you can't, as I mentioned before, is a closed off state of resistance. It's that survival fight or flight. So your guides, they want to help you, but if you're in that closed off state of resistance, fight or flight, that those downloads are not able to get through because the ego is obsessed with fear mongering about the future, and you're not present to see the signs that your guides are trying to give you, because again, you're off into the future. So what you want to do is you want to ask some empowering questions, some empowering questions like, what traits and abilities would I need to overcome this challenge? Focus on that. And then you focus on those traits and you become those traits. Don't just say, I need some strength. Become strength itself. Identify as strength itself. Identify as resilience itself. Identify as eternal power itself. Another question could be, what is the universe trying to express through me? What would my greatest version look like if the universe were able to express this new identity through me? Now, think about how empowering that question is. What would my greatest version look like if the universe were able to express this new identity through me? That's a powerful question, because now it opens you up to all of the possibilities of how you can grow and expand. And that timeline where you're your greatest version, now that you're aware of what that greatest version looks like, well, that timeline can now become aware of you. Now we're quantumly entangled or quantumly aware. Those two timelines are matched up. And now all of the people, places, and things from that higher timeline can show up and give you an opportunity to walk the walk and act in accordance with that new greatest version and not take the actions of the old identity. But what does that whole exercise do? It keeps you from focusing on the problem, right? Notice how you're pulled right out of fight or flight because now you're focused on the bigger picture. When you're focused on the problem, you can't see the forest for the trees, and this is the ego's fault. So you sink into the heart space. You sink into the heart space, get out of the ego, and you start to understand that those tower moments are to bring the bigger picture into fruition into your life. Those tower moments are your key to level up to the higher timeline because you're no longer weighted down by what no longer serves. So if you guys can live more from the heart, you'll be more out of the ego and you'll see the bigger picture and not be this close from the Monet, uh that saying about standing this close to a Monet painting. You got to stand 6 feet back to see the masterpiece. So don't let the ego have you standing this close to the painting. So essentially, guys, if the universe is taking that old life off of the table and not even making it an option anymore, and if you found your place, it found a place in your life where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of that same life that just seems to be killing your spirit, and all the people, places, and things related to that new life keep showing up in your timeline to give you an opportunity to show if you're congruent with that higher timeline, then these are all of the signs that you are about to be leveled up and you're about to have a major breakthrough. Is that resonating with the light fam? Oh, we got some new stuff. Where did I leave off? Donna Sophia Aurora's Big Island POV. Man, that's a big username. Welcome, my friend. I don't think I've seen you before. Let's see here. Let's put one of these little tickers across while I answer this question. Let's take the other one off. How about that? There we go. All right. Let's see. So she says, let me put your thing up here. What is up with the pause and tower time during leveling up? You might be talking about the spiritual pause. I made a video on this. This is the kind of the spiritual reset button, and this is typically where you're off centered because you're so outwardly focused on expectations, or you're so outwardly focused a lot of times in wounded masculine energy, overworking, over grinding, over analyzing, over obsessing, that you're not seeing the new version of you, the new life that's trying to be birthed into your current timeline because you're not inwardly focused. That's when you dial up the divine feminine energy to go within. And that's the point of the spiritual pause. Tower time. You might be talking about tower moments. And this is where we just discussed the tower moments. Your ego is going to look at that as a threat to survival. It's going to look at it as a tower moment. But if we sink into the heart space, we can see the bigger picture, which is that it's an opportunity to level up because it's usually the taking away of what no longer serves. And now you're no longer weighed down to getting up to the higher timeline that you want to live. I hope that answers your question. I wasn't quite sure if that's what you were referring to. We got more banners. Sorry, guys, I'm having too much fun with this. All right. Rose says, seeing through all my old thoughts is incredible, as if waking up and thinking, where was I all this and all that story that I was creating. It's amazing what the ego can create, right? The ego can create all kinds of stories that are not true whatsoever. And this is why it's so important to set aside personal quiet time to go within so that you can discern what is true and what is just fear mongering. A lot of times we can debunk those fears by just, going within, getting still, and asking if those fears are true. And as soon as you start debunking them, the more you get into the habit of debunking the fears, the less emotional charge they will have in the future when the ego starts its typical fear mongering. Velvet Parker, hello and yes. The housewife, time flies in the present. It does, doesn't it? Spring Fauna, yes, visualization helps so much in becoming the best version of yourself. Absolutely. Let me put your thing up here. So, as far as visualization goes, an exercise that you guys can do is sit down and write out what your greatest version looks like. And I mean, get very detailed. How would people respond to your greatest version? How do you now respond to people as your greatest version? What type of life would your greatest version be living? What would your greatest version be doing? How might your greatest version be changing the world around itself? And when you put and sit down with a pen and paper, don't type it out. There's just something about handwriting that really keeps you present, because I think we all can just blindly type without thinking. But when you handwrite, you're present and your intentions are going into what you're handwriting. And the brain sees that as black and white. Well, when the brain sees something in writing, it stamps it as a thing. It's official. It's in writing. It's got to be true, right? And now you kind of have a blueprint or an owner's manual of what your higher self, I'm sorry, your greatest version looks like. And now it's much easier to take steps in alignment with that greatest version. Velvet Parker, I love it. Katrina Hughes, I love that, David. A shift in perspective is so powerful. It's everything. It's literally everything. Donna Sophia Aurora's Big Island POV. Aloha. All right, guys. Well, that was pretty much my take on the different signs of that the universe is trying to level you up, and that a major breakthrough is on the way. Now we'll open it up to some questions. We got 12 minutes. You guys have any questions regarding leveling up, major breakthroughs? What do we got? I'll play with some more of these banners while you guys are putting your putting your questions together. So while you guys are thinking of your questions, next week we have another interview regarding the dark night of the soul. I know a lot of you guys are going through the dark night of the soul. Bringing on another guest that I'm sure you guys are going to love. She has a very popular podcast, and she's going to be discussing her journey through the dark night of the soul, as well as how she got through it, some tips that you guys can use to get yourselves through it much easier. So I think you're really going to like next week's stream. Want to try to bring on more interviews. Also, if you guys want me to interview anyone, please let me know. Feel free to type that in the chat. I do want to start bringing on new interviews. I don't know if the big ones like, Joe Dispenza or someone like that would come on my little channel, but we can always ask not, have not, they say. Infinity. Hi, Infinity. Great meeting you, my friend. Don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the stream. Let me put her question up here. How would my greatest version handle the death of my husband? How can I level up and being not sad all the time? So You have to understand your husband is not gone. Your husband is right there with you. He's just left his physical avatar and now he's on the other side being your guide. You can connect with him anytime, all the time. Set aside a little space. Maybe have a little place in your house or your apartment, wherever, where maybe you've just got a little picture and a little candle, and you can sit down eating some of his favorite food and just have a conversation. You got to understand those consciousnesses don't go anywhere. They just leave the physical avatar. We're all going back from whence we came. We're just here for a minute in these temporary physical avatars. And I would obviously, I don't know anything about your husband. But I would surmise that he doesn't want you to be sad. He's probably saying, I'm right here. I am. I'm right here. You don't need to be sad. I'm right here. And I say this with so much confidence because I've experienced a ton of loss within the last 3 years of my relatives, and the ways that they show up, guys, is just crazy. I mean, I get blinking lights, I get all kinds of crazy stuff. So they're there. I also have a video on channeling. So if you want, I don't think it's called channeling. I think it's the light language video where I show you how to channel light language. But once you know how to channel, you can channel anything. So you can channel, any consciousnesses that are in your vibrational space, and you can sit there and talk to your husband or anybody. I do it with my relatives that have passed, and it's interesting because this conscious link opens up, and then those downloads just start pouring in. It's really interesting. As a matter of fact, one of the first time my grandfather really showed up, I was in meditation, and this is when my clairolfactance, so astral smell, basically. I was sitting there in meditation, and I smelled disgusting cigarettes. My grandfather was a chain smoker, and so so I had my eyes closed, and I could just feel this male, was it my right side, this male presence on my right side, kind of behind me, and it was my grandfather. And so we connected consciousnesses, and then he just started like spewing all the things that he meant to say before he passed away. So I say all that to say that they haven't gone anywhere. You haven't lost anything. He's literally right there. You just have to take the time to connect with him. I hope that answered your question. Thank you. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, so if you guys want me to interview anyone, put your suggestions in the comments, possibly. I'm going to be reaching out to a whole bunch of new guests to bring on to the stream. And then, as I say, next week we got the Dark Night of the Soul interview. Let's see. We have a new question from A. Welcome, A. All right. A says, I'm experiencing chronic fatigue as a major spiritual awakening symptom right now. Ascension symptoms. Can this be seen as emotional purging as more light enters me? Yes. What is your opinion on this? All right. So the ascension symptom of fatigue. So ascension symptoms are essentially where your energy body is picking up the light downloads that have been bombarding the planet pretty heavily for the last couple of years. Your energy body is picking that up. Well, the physical body, which is much denser, has a hard time adjusting to that higher frequency of your energy body or your light body. And so the physical body has to purge the denser aspects of you that are kind of keeping you from ascending. So the cells of your body have consciousness. The cells of your body can house unhealed trauma, fear-based belief systems. When you're hanging on to a toxic relationship because your unhealed trauma thinks you need that relationship to survive, and it's trauma bonding, that is also stored within the cells of your body. And so all of that stuff has to be purged to increase the light quotient of your cells. What is the light quotient? The ability to hold more light, right? So you've got to purge that stuff, which is part of the ascension symptoms process. There's a purging process. And this is typically where, you know, the universe will step in and try to forcefully take all of those things out of your life so that there is room for more light and you can ascend. So when you're feeling the ascension symptoms of fatigue, understand your body is working extra hard to try to recalibrate to a higher frequency. It's very much the same as working out in the gym. You know, you're going to get fatigued, but you're putting your muscles into hypertrophy so they can be stronger, but you've got to give them rest. You've got to give them hydration. You've got to give them good food. Well, this is your body. It is exactly the same with your physical body. So when you're feeling the ascension symptoms of fatigue, one, you got to take the perspective that it's a normal part of the ascension process. And it's for your highest good, by the way. And then understand that because your body is working extra hard to purge, you want to give yourself extra rest. Make sure you're staying hydrated. If you need to Google how much water you need daily according to your body weight, definitely do that. Because if you think about purging denser energy, what is that? That's flushing. What is flushing? Water, hydration. So the more water and hydration that your cells have, the easier it is for them to flush that denser energy that no longer serves. And finally, be willing to let go of what no longer serves you, trusting that you're making space for what does serve you, because the universe always has your highest good in mind. So I hope that helps. Let's see here. So Donna Sophia says, the pause I mentioned is the pause before the breakthrough. Relaxing and receptivity feels strange. Yeah, that's the ego. The ego doesn't like to relax. The ego believes it needs to be productive and overworking all the time to be productive. The ego hates to relax. How do I keep the divine masculine? Wait, how do I/we keep the divine masculine that wants action occupied? How do I/we keep the divine masculine that wants action occupied? I'm not quite sure I understand what you're saying. Relaxing and receptivity feels strange because the ego feels if it's not being productive, if it's not doing action, if it's not doing something, then it's not being productive. This is not inspired action. This is not divinely inspired action. This is busy work. And busy work is the mechanism of the ego to make itself feel useful. But rest and relaxation is 1,000% normal when you sink into your heart space. Matter of fact, it feels very natural when you sink into your heart space. The other thing about the DM wants action occupied, I don't think I understand what you mean by that. Just kind of clarify what you mean in the comments. Affinity, thank you, David. You're very welcome. I'm glad that helped. Spring Fauna, thank you so much. It's always fun to catch a live, and I appreciate you stopping by for the live. I appreciate your all support. Katrina sending lots of love to Affinity. Thank you, Katrina. See how welcoming and loving the Light Fam is? All right. I agree. Trauma is always stored in the body. Yep. Katrina, thank you, David. Amazing live and so empowering and uplifting. Thank you, Katrina. I appreciate you. Katrina says, I came across a channel called, let me put her thing up here. I came across a channel called Unlimited You. I think you would like them, David. You both share the same beliefs from what I can see. So maybe an option for an interview. I haven't heard of them. Unlimited You. Okay, I will look them up and see if they want to do an interview. A says, yes, I am augmenting water intake. My body is constantly thirsty. Water is huge, guys. a lot of times we don't stop and think about the fact that we're like 60% water. So, it's very, very important to stay hydrated. That really accounts for a lot of the daily symptoms people believe that they feel. A lot of times, if you have a headache, you might be dehydrated. A lot of times, if you're in some type of a negative kind of funk, you might be dehydrated because the more water that you have in your system, the more hydrated, the better your brain can process things. If your brain is kind of worn down and tired and dehydrated, it's making an obstacle or a little thing out to be much bigger than it actually is. So you'd be amazed at the power of just staying hydrated. Donna says, "Don't worry about the action part. I'll figure it out." Let me see if I can say that. I know mahalo. Mahalo nui loa. Did I say it right? Let me know if I said that right. Mahalo Louie Noah. Fun live aloha. Glenn Lemons. Let me put Glenn's thing up here. What role does Kundalini play in the awakening process? Kundalini is amazing. Kundalini is divine feminine Shakti energy. It's an energy that we all have. It's actually represented by a red snake that comes out of your root chakra and pops open your vagus nerve. It's amazing. What role does it play? Well, when you have a Kundalini awakening, that will play a major role in your life. Actually, Kundalini awakening, what I experienced was actually the reason that I started Lightways. There's some things that led up to it, but when I had that Kundalini awakening, some things were answered that was just mind blowing. And I'm like, I got to share this message with the rest of the world. And then Lightways was kind of born from there. So what role does it play? It will definitely spur you on in your spiritual journey. It will give you the answers to a lot of things in life that, people are searching for through man-made religion and all kinds of other things. But a Kundalini awakening will connect you directly with source, and you will get downloads that will blow your mind, and you will be forever changed. I'm going to do a video on Kundalini awakening and how to do that. All right. Oh, Donna says I pronounced it correctly. Awesome. I love Hawaii, by the way. I love Hana. I've been to Hana a few times. I know it's a little bitty thing, but are you familiar with the road to Hana? That crazy winding road going up through the mountains, and it's like this big, and you're looking over the cliffs. And I got the T-shirt actually. The T-shirt says I survived the road to Hana. All right, guys. So we hit our hour. Do you guys have any other? Oh, we do have something. A says, I could feel, David, you had a Kundalini awakening. I am also, by the way, chronic fatigue is one of my Kundalini ascension symptoms. Really? I don't get fatigue from Kundalini. Kundalini is an energy that is just, it's kind of like channeling light language. I don't know if you guys channel light language. If you haven't, go check out my video on how to do that. But when you start to channel light language, you're channeling such a high frequency. And I'm talking about a frequency from a much higher dimension. And you're just like beaming. It's almost like you're walking on clouds. Like no coffee can ever compare to it. It's a very clean, sustaining energy. So Kundalini, I have felt, is kind of similar to that. The cool thing about a Kundalini awakening is it also makes a Satori moment a little bit more frequent. So whenever you have moments of Satori, in other words, walking in the shoes of source, you're seeing through the perspective of source while you're in your physical world avatar. Those moments come around more frequently after you've opened your Kundalini energy. All right, guys. So we hit the hour. We'll take one more question while I play with my little banners here. Follow me on IG if you want to maybe shoot me a question. Be patient with the questions because a lot of times those questions end up in the request tab, and I've got I don't know how many requests, and and then I try to check them, and then but we can connect over there. I'm also on TikTok, which is this one here. And please share all that good stuff. Any final questions, guys? Donna Sophia, know about the road, but haven't driven it. You're in for a treat. Drive it at night. Just kidding. Don't drive it at night. You should try the Big Island. I have. It's very crowded, though. When I went there, it was very crowded. This week we have a mountain spewing lava. Whoa, that's awesome. I've always wanted to see a live volcano. And the other covered in snow. Lots of portals there. Ooh, that's cool. Portals like in Sedona, the vortices. How would you say that? A says, I agree with Kundalini awakening. Moments of unity come and go. Yeah. And remember when you're in meditation, that's the knowing that you want to sink into. Sinking into unity consciousness. All right, guys. Any more? Going once, going twice? Remember, next week's live will be on the Dark Night of the Soul. I've got a really cool interview for you guys. I think you guys will like it. So if you're struggling with the Dark Night of the Soul, it's always nice to get a different perspective in. And please share the video. Let the algorithm know you like what we're doing over here at Lightways. We're empowering people. All right. I guess that's it. I don't see anything else. All right. All right, guys. I love all of you guys. Sending light, love, and abundance to all that are watching and to all your love. I really appreciate everyone for coming out and supporting the channel. Oh, Rose snuck in under the finish line. What do we got? Let's see here. Rose says, question, is there some advice with dealing with the current state of the world? That's a very big question, actually. You want to hold the frequency that you want to see. This goes back to being absolute love, being absolute abundance, intelligence, just being your source self. You're holding the light. And really all the collective is the group think it's everyone's frequency. And you'd be amazed how much you can affect the frequency of the collective when you raise your frequency, when you raise your conscious awareness that you are source having a physical experience and you step into unity consciousness. Unity consciousness means you see everyone else, your fellow human, as a fractal of source, as a fractal of you. And it's all one. And the more that you hold unity consciousness, the more you're able to affect change in the world because you're affecting the collective consciousness. And then anything that you can do in the physical, like give to, fundraisers and that type of thing, or any type of positive activist activities, as long as it's positive, that's working for the solution, you can do that. But I always say fix your frequency first. Mike Decker. What's up, Mike Decker? Haven't seen you before. Welcome, my friend. Why do I see 333 all the time, or 33 all the time? So I do have an angel numbers video, and there is a little chart in there of what the different angel numbers mean. 33 typically, well, first of all, 33 is a master number, but 3 holds the frequency of you are safe. So That's a whole thing, but it's supposed to mean something very specific to you. So a sign usually means that it's something very specific for you. So just try to think about when you see it, what is it that you're thinking about? Stop and think about, are you asking a question? Are you thinking of something that you should or shouldn't do? Is the universe confirming? Just try to stop and think about what you're thinking at the exact moment that you see it. And that should help. I hope that helps, my friend. All right, so we're way over here. Oh, interactive feminine. Hey, Brooke, great seeing you. I'm late. Yeah, you're at the very end. Bad Brooke. Anaconda, sometimes when I meditate, my body moves like a snake. Is it Kundalini energy? It most certainly could be. Now, understand that, as I was just talking about, the Kundalini is the red snake, but also when you meditate, you're raising your frequency. So there's a little bit of vibrational dissonance from where you were before you raised your frequency in between the frequency that you're going to. So as your energy is finding homeostasis, it's going to move a little bit sometimes. I get that. So it's just your body finding energetic homeostasis as you're raising your vibration. Mike Decker says, every day, all day, I am rich. Wait a minute. Rich as in you have a lot of money, or your name is Rich, but it says Mike Decker. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, I'm glad that answered your question, my friend. I really appreciate you showing up to the live and supporting and asking questions. That's why we're here. All right, guys. So we're way over now. I love all of you guys. See you guys in the next video. Namaste. Oh, wait a minute. Someone wants to say hi. Oh, look at this little fur baby, Titan ways. He's like, Daddy, put me down. All right. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.